Mayoi Ayase, one of the greatest and most attractive characters ever thought of. He can fit into tight spaces, take out Ibara's drones in a flash, and best of all, he's purple-colored and knows how to handle the females. But what's his deal? We know of his parents and some details of his childhood, but none of them explain much on how he ended up an Ensemble Star. Today, we will be diving in to figure out who Mayoi really is, how he came to be the fearful creature we know of him to be, and if he really does have demonic origins. Grab yourself a snack because this is going to be one hell of a movie. Now, this might seem strange to those not in the know, but for this project, we need to start off with a discussion of the Fae clan from the Ace Attorney series. This is a clan from the Kurain village, in which the women are said to pass on a spiritual connection and are taught the secret Kurain channeling technique, pioneered by Ami Fae. For the events of the Phoenix Wright trilogy, we learn that a woman, raised to be the clan's successor, Mia Fae, actually refused her duty and ran off to become a defense attorney and eventually a mentor for our main character. After her death, we meet her sister, Maya Fae, who now carries that responsibility as well as providing some much needed comic relief to the game. In the second game, we learn even more of the tensions rising in the village over a teen girl with not much spirit channeling skill being set to inherit its entirety. Most of it comes from her aunt, Morgan Fae, a woman deeply jealous of her missing sister's power, raising her own daughter to surpass Maya at just 10 years old. She even goes as far as killing a man and framing Maya for it, just to take over Kurain village. Now, with that said, seeing as this power is only inherited by female descendants, is it not a stretch to say someone like Morgan would be squarely disappointed if she ever had a son? Think back to Mayoi's low self-esteem. What exactly does he call himself? That's right, a cursed creature. Words undoubtedly associated with spiritual practice. It even comes up in his idol tagline, "Come and share an occult night." From this, we could definitely argue that, similarly to a lot of the cast, he derives his current way of being from a spiritual upbringing. One of the few details of his childhood that we do know of is that he frequently fell sick. Strange, considering that if he was in some way immunocompromised, All Stars is not a franchise that would shy away from calling it by name. We also know he is not as frail now, as in the main story, his own unit mates compliment him on his skillful physical performance. This does, however, correlate to what we know of the Kurain spirit channeling technique school. In Trials and Tribulations, we witness that the training involves staying in freezing temperatures overnight and standing under ice-cold waterfalls. Mayoi himself also seems a lot more comfortable in environments similar to rural Japan in which others find themselves off-put. During Matrix, he's probably the most in his element out of the entirety of Alkaloid, aside from Hiro, despite never having stepped foot in his village before. He also isn't all too fazed by telling stories of disappearances and supernatural occurrences. Maybe he already bore witness to similar situations. Skeptics still might not be convinced of my truth, so, as a prelude to my final point, let me give you a full timeline of events. Morgan Fae, wishing to become an heir for the Kurain village, falls pregnant shortly after her sister's second pregnancy. To her dismay, her child turns out to be a boy. Overcome with grief and jealousy of her sister's second daughter, she takes a gamble and puts him under spirit medium training anyway. With age, it becomes increasingly clear he will never be able to channel spirits, a fact of which the son becomes deeply ashamed of. When he reaches high school age, she sends him off to Yumenosaki Private Academy, wherein he, embarrassed by his lacking skills, while also not wishing to return home, makes his living inside the school. In this, we see that there exists a dissonance between the high expectations Morgan puts on this hypothetical child and the emotional distance she creates between them. Now ask yourselves, is it not possible that an already spiritual woman would also put her belief in a name? We know how threatened she feels by Maya, how she wishes to create an heir to rival her. Maybe with her first child, she would even attempt to give them a similar name, yet one that would also allow to be distanced from the family in the future. See, I haven't quite been truthful with you up until this point. Ace Attorney, being a game for a general audience, released all the way back in 2005 for the Game Boy Advance, has undergone major changes with its characters' names while being localized for an American audience. The Fae clan, for example, should more accurately be called the Ayasato clan. And Maya, the current heir of the entire village, the woman we have been speculating, Mayoi Ayase from Ensemble Stars, has been raised in spite of. It's not only possible that he was named after Maya Fey, it's almost unchallengeable. He has been created as the antithesis of Mayoi Ayasato.